What is up? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm back here in the new shop and I'm finally going to be changing the motor on this, it's a 2018 Duramax here. So I did a video a while back on changing the turbo. So the turbo, the dealer diagnosed it. Anyways, long story short, the motor's no good in it. So we got a brand new long block and then we'll also have a brand new turbo on it. So it should be good to go after this. And got a supervisor here and he's going to make sure I do a good job. So I need to pull this thing back apart again. So I already had it apart once, but I pretty much got all back together and it running, except for I didn't put the wheel well liners in, and I put the running boards back on. So I'm going to pull the running boards back off first here. I want to get up in the air, get everything underneath disconnected, and get this cab back off here. So it should be pretty fast because I already had everything apart once and loosened everything up, and then kind of know how to get this apart. So should go a lot quicker this time around. And we can get this motor out. So I do have the new GM long block. It's been sitting around forever, but I haven't actually even opened the crate up here yet. So let's see what's actually in here. So it comes with the valve covers and everything. Looks pretty shiny new. So I don't know, it's a pretty sweet deal when you buy these things. You get a 3-year warranty on them too, and I think it's actually parts and labor warranty on them. So if anything were to happen, GM will cover it and you can just bring it to the shop and they'll fix it up there for you. So you need to get the cab off this thing first, and then we'll start getting the motor out. So I think I'll probably just set them side by side, or I don't know, I think I gotta pull this old motor out here and set them side by side and swap it. I got all new gaskets for the injectors, for the turbo, everything, for manifolds, because we did have a pretty good manifold leak on here before. So we'll get that all fixed up here and probably get the manifolds plain too, just so they seal up nice. And then we'll get this core back, because the core charge on these motors from GM, I think it was 6,000 bucks when I bought it. Now for the core, it's like $12,000 because they're having such a hard time getting these motors back apparently. So the core is just crazy, but the core is fine on ours. Like, it still actually runs. It just has quite a bit of noise in one of the bearings or something is going in it. So just putting a fresh new motor in it and this thing should be good for a long time. Because I mean, the truck's not in bad shape, but just it's not worth anything right now. And then to buy a new truck would be a lot of money to upgrade. So anyways, let's get this thing pulled apart. I'll throw it in the air here and get everything pulled apart on the bottom, and then we can start pulling everything, like the grill and the bumper cover off, or the bumper off and everything like that. So the cab popped off here and I went way quicker this time. I got it off in less than 3 hours. So now I just need to start pulling all the hoses and the harness off the top of this motor here. And I forgot to pull the starter off and the torque converter bolts. So probably just pop this downpipe off, and then I should be able to get the other starter pretty easy. And I might have to crawl underneath there and undo the torque converter bolts and stuff. And then yeah, I guess I can probably leave most of the stuff, and then I can just set this motor on the ground. Just probably set it right here, and then I might go grab the new motor and just pretty much probably just, I don't know what I'm gonna have to do for the harness there, but I don't think there's too much below. So I would like to just set the new motor in there as soon as I can, because then it'd be nice to work on it, and then I can just assemble all, like, the whole entire front accessories and everything just sitting right in there. Because I don't, it would have been nice if I would have had an engine stand, but I do not have one that's big enough to hold that that big of a motor. So I guess let's just start pulling all this harnesses and stuff off here. All these lines can just be moved to the side, and then this fan, probably honestly just take the whole pulley right off here for this fan, because that'd be the easiest way. I don't just since I don't have the belt on here, it'll be a bugger to get this separated there, but I need to take that pulley off anyways. So I just need to strip all this stuff off here, and yeah, and then I should be able to pull this apart. So I'll probably just throw a ratchet strap underneath this transmission here, and just to hold that up, and then yeah, we'll try to get this thing out of here. Okay, so I got most of the stuff disconnected on this thing, but just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to just lift the motor up a little bit here, and it'll make it easier to disconnect this starter here and get the flywheel bolts out, because I forgot to unhook them when it was up in the air, which are still kind of a pain when they're up in the air. But if you lift the motor up here a little bit, take this engine mount off, if it will come off, not too bad, and then I can just have full access to there, and it'll make it really easy to pull all that stuff apart. I just can only lift it up enough until I don't obviously want to hit that drive shaft there, but should be able to cut a little ways and make it a little bit easier to work on. And then as far as the wiring, I pretty much just have, I think just this one wire left to disconnect, which just goes down in here, and it goes on the plug. It's like a glow plug module right there. And then on the other side, I think I'm pretty clear. The engine bracket's off there. Yeah, so getting pretty close to lifting up here. So pretty much just need to get this transmission and engine separated here, and I'll put a strap also to hold that tranny up. Then we should be getting pretty close to setting this thing out. And I pulled the new motor over here, and just to kind of see what was on this thing. And yeah, it comes a new water pump and everything. So I mean, it's a pretty good deal. That'll cover those. Throw in the new injectors. Already has some of the intake on here. I just need to put the turbo in there and all the accessories and stuff. So let's lift this thing up a little bit and see how that goes, and see if it'll make it a little bit easier to work on here. So the fuel line still needs to come off here. What else we got here? A few of these wires I think need to come off. Alright, this is the next day here, and ended up pulling the whole entire engine and tranny and T-case out of here, because it really wasn't much more work. I just had to disconnect pretty much one little harness that went on here, and then just there's two bolts that holds the back of the tranny and the T-case in there, and then just the two drive shafts, and then I just lifted the whole entire assembly out as one. So a lot of my footage actually from this morning got deleted, but I did get this whole entire motor swapped over here. So this is the old one, and this is pretty much all that's left, and I'm just got it all packaged up to send it back here. So it pretty much, it took me all day, but I did get everything swapped, or well, not quite all swapped over yet, but I just had to put all new gaskets and stuff on all of the injectors, and then just pretty much swap over all these studs. And then I have a new harmonic balancer bolt here, and then these are like the bolts for the flywheel, so they're all torque to yield. So these are the old ones, so I got to just swap them out, and then I can torque them to yield, and then just install the tranny back onto the motor there. And then this way it's super easy to install the torque converter bolts. So I can just tighten them all up right here, put the starter back in, and the harness and everything back on to the motor, and then just stick it right in there. So usually when I'm doing frame swaps and stuff, I'll just take the whole entire engine training T-case out. So it's just so much easier to do on the floor because I was kind of fighting with it. I tried to lift it up here a little bit to get it all out, and I'm like, ah, screw it. It wasn't much more work, and I just pulled the whole entire thing out. So pretty much just need to put my EGR, the intake and stuff back on here, and then I can start dealing with that harness. So I just had the old motor sitting right here on this tire, and I just kind of pulled everything right off there. But it's coming together. I got the worst of it done. Just need to do a little bit of torquing, and then I can stick this back together. But yeah, unfortunately, for some reason my camera messed up and it wiped all my footage of swapping everything over. So, but anyways, let's get back to putting this back together, and I want to stick it back in this truck here pretty soon. Last night I got the motor in there, and I got most of the wiring kind of wrapped up here, and all the stuff torqued up to spec. So I'm pretty much just missing the manifolds and a few things on the front here. So the alternator needs to go in there, and then just put on the thermostats, and then the fan shroud can go on. But for the most part, got all the wiring that needs to be hooked up to the motor done, and then obviously I need to put these covers on here. But I went and got the manifolds replaned here. So the one was actually really warped. It was missing quite a few studs. So got them resurfaced, and they're looking pretty darn nice. So pretty much just have the exhaust to go on there, and then to finish up all stuff on the EGR, and then I can pretty much put the cab back down and have new gaskets for everything. These ones, they just got to pop out these little they kind of got a little stud holding them in there, so they're kind of a pain to get out, but once you just get it pop loose, they do slide out of there, and I guess it just so the gasket doesn't fall or holds it in place, I guess. And then I do have a new serpentine belt, and then for some reason on the new motor, this is the old block heater, it does not fit into here. So I did get a new one from GM, which they're kind of pricey, but you can't really have a diesel in the winter without a block heater. So I guess we'll see if this new one will fit, because for some reason they're just a little bit different. But maybe the new one has that little like thermostat thing on there, which is kind of a pain, because I don't know, it's unnecessary. I guess they just make it way more expensive for a piece of cord, right? So anyways, let's get these manifolds on here. We'll get them all torqued down to spec, and then we can just pretty much assemble the rest of the stuff. The reason I didn't put this front stuff on here yet is because I dropped a bolt down there, but I did get it out, so we are good to go. So I can install everything else on here and get this cab back down, and hopefully can get it running today, and we'll take it out for a drive. So I ran into a slight issue. I got all the manifolds and everything installed, but I was just going to put on the downpipe, and then I can pretty much drop the cab back down on here. But when I put on I went to go put this clamp on here, and actually the bolt just snapped off. And of course, GM doesn't have one. They're all 2 weeks away. No shops had one, and it's a Friday, or it was a Friday. So good old Amazon. I ordered this one off Amazon. It's actually stainless steel too, and so much nicer than the factory one, and it has a way bigger bolt, which is nice. So and it's pretty much identical except for the size of the bolt. It's the exact same thing, so it should work perfect. So Amazon saved the day here. I can just install this. That's all I need to put on here is just the downpipe, and then everything else is finished up, and I'm ready to put the cab back down. And then, I mean, that's the quick part. Once I get the cab back down, just hook up all the wiring and stuff and top up the fluids, and we'll be rolling. So thankfully I tried to fix it, and I tried to like get a bolt, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I couldn't find one anywhere. So anyways, this should fix my problem, and it was 25 bucks, and I think GM wanted like 150 freaking dollars or something for this thing. And then one other thing, my new block heater cord, this is the old one. So here's the end on it. For some reason it doesn't work with the new block heater that's on the truck. And then I ordered a new one, and this thing was $90 from GM. And it's exactly the same. So I don't know, I'm definitely gonna bring this back, and then I don't know, I'll have to order, maybe it's for a new style one, I'm not sure. So if you look at this connection, and then the connection on here, it's almost like, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but yeah, probably not. But it's a kind of a new style. Yeah, there you can kind of see it, but anyways, it's a different style of end. So I'll have to figure out what the heck it is for that. And then we should be good, but I can always plug that block heater in later. It's not a big deal. And then I got the fan, new serpentine belt, everything installed there, because the old serpentine belt was probably the original one, and it was so cracked, so I thought I better just change that, because it really sucks to change on the side of the road if it does blow. And then for everything else, I think we're good to go. So finish up this downpipe here, and then slap this cab back down on here. Alright, so now I got mostly all the wiring hooked up, and pretty much only I've left to do is the front here, but I'm just gonna leave that for now, and I want to try to get this thing fired up. So got this thing full of some AMSOIL, and I'm just topping it up with some coolant, so it should be pretty much ready to start it up here. I do have kind of dead battery, so I'm just trying to boost it, so we'll go see if it'll try to start up here. So I have cycled the key a couple times, but I should have fuel there now, I think. And we'll see if it'll even turn over. Alright, so last night I couldn't get it to fire up there. For some reason I wasn't getting fuel, but you can hear the fuel pump running here. And this sounds like it's got a bunch of air in the system, so I'm guessing that's just why I wasn't getting fuel. It's probably just airlocked or something. If I did pop the connectors ends off of the motor here, and I had like a little bit of fuel, but not much, so I'm pretty sure it must have been just airlocked. But you can really hear it priming here now, so I'm just gonna keep cycling the key until it sounds alright, and then I'm just gonna get this thing boosted up here again. It did have pretty good power, but if I fire this old truck up, should be able to boost it, and then hopefully this thing will fire up. Because I checked all the fuses and everything seemed good. I don't think I was missing any wires or anything, so we'll just start this truck up and see if it'll fire up. Alright, so now I got that truck running. Seems to want to turn over a little bit more now, so. Oh, there we go. Now it's trying to start. Give it a minute, try it again here. Right, so I went ahead and put one new battery in it, so let's try turn it over and see if this thing will fire up. Now I went and checked all the connector ends too, so hopefully fire up here. There we go. This must have had a bunch of air in the system, but it sounds pretty good. So I'm just gonna keep topping up the coolant here because I put quite a bit in, like 2 jugs in it so far, but it's still pretty low. Keep topping it up. Alrighty, so I got it pretty much all put back together here. Everything but the wheel well liners and this little air compressor just needs going, but I want to drive it first and then maybe just wash up this wheel wells and stuff, and then I can put the wheel well liners in. But I got the coolant kind of chopped up there. I'm sure I'll have to add more once it gets up to temp, and it's sounding really good. So pretty much ready to take it for the first drive. So got a little bit of temp here, but not too much. So I actually have no engine lights. I did clear the codes as soon as I fired it up there, but everything seems good so far. I will just pull it out of here. Maybe we'll take it down the highway and just get this thing up to temperature. Probably to add some more coolant and just make sure everything's all good, and then we'll come back and just do the last little few things to finish this thing up, and then it'll pretty much be a wrap for this truck. And it sounds way better now. It's got a fresh new turbo, new motor, and doesn't sound like it's going to explode anymore. Alright, so I got it cruising down the road at temperature here, and everything seems pretty good. I don't even have any engine codes. I scanned it. I had a couple permanent codes, but they're just because they'll go away once I drive it. I bet you by the time I get back to the house they'll be gone. For some reason this was all wonky. I just shut it off and turned it back on, and now it seems to be reading about right. I think it is about 20 degrees out today, and I was saying like -40 and then -5 for quite a while there, and it was jumping around, but I don't know what was up with that, but it seems fine now, and everything else seems pretty good. So I'll just cruise this, get it nice and warm, and I'll probably go home, top it up, and then we can throw the wheel well liners in, and that's pretty much it for this truck, I think. Yeah, and it seems to run pretty good. It's got pretty good power. I haven't towed anything yet, but should also check the transmission fluid again. I did have that apart a little bit, so it might be, I don't really spill very much, so maybe you need to put like a ½ liter in there, but besides that, it should be pretty good. So we'll cruise till we get home and then finish it up there. Got the wheel well liners and everything else wrapped up here, so it's all back together. I only had to put like a ½ liter of coolant back in it. I'm gonna drive it out a little ways here, so I'll let it sit overnight, and then also you might just need to top it up again if there's any air in the system, but it seems pretty good and it runs at temp pretty good. And yeah, I got the wheel well liners and everything back in here, so should be good to go. Zeke approves. Still wants to play this ball. So come on, throw it. I'll fire it up here. It sounds pretty good and should be ready to go back to work. So we're not getting any codes or anything either, and the permanent codes did go away, so it should be good to go. And sounds really good. So I mean, it's got a brand new turbo, brand new motor. I put all the exhaust. I changed all the exhaust gaskets and got them planed, the manifolds planed. I mean, it should be like a new truck. I mean, it has quite a bit of pee on it, but it should be good to go until, and the tranny fluid does look good in it, so, and it shifts really good. So, I mean, it should be good, ready to go back to work. So, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. Just a quick video on kind of swapping the engine. I kind of lost a little bit of footage of when I was swapping everything from motor to motor there, but it's pretty simple. You just took it all out, putting gaskets on it, and away you go. So anyways, thanks for watching, and tune in for the next one. Peace.